Hey, everybody, it's Eddie from Tokyo. This is your cryptocurrency update from Japan. And even over a weekend, this crypto space doesn't slow down. We're going to watch a 30-second video clip that took the X platform by storm today. Also, Circle. Well, gosh, USDC making some market share moves that surprised me. And you can see Bitcoin here in the last 24 hours moving sideways, ranging around 68.5 to 69.5. And Ripple, there's a big focus on the APAC region, especially for Japan and Korea. And this time, it's within the developer community. And a big report on the market coming from SBI, some nuggets I want to tell you about. John Deaton, yes, of course, he is challenging the one and only Elizabeth Warren, but he's got a little bit of noise with Ian Kane, a guy taking shots, but he's unaware of the decentralized justice that occurs on the crypto Twitter, as it's been called for years. No doubt he's going to learn. And Robbie Mitchnick of BlackRock, he talks Ripple and the XRP army. All right, everybody, come on, let's go.
I will ensure that the future of crypto and the future of Bitcoin will be made in the USA, not driven overseas. I will support the right to self-custody to the nation's 50 million crypto holders. I say this with your vote. I will keep Elizabeth Warren and her goons away from your Bitcoin. And I will never allow the creation of a central bank digital currency.
The stablecoin market competition is getting fierce as more participants are rapidly coming into play. USD Tether has gone from 93 billion to 111 billion since January. That's a 20% increase. But USDC, very impressive. It's gone from 25 billion in January to over 33 billion in May. That's a 32% increase. Yeah, I'm going to be interested, and I'm sure a lot of other people will also, in watching the new Flare stablecoin come to market and the coming Ripple stablecoin as well. I think Ripple's got a big challenge on their hands. It's great. I can't wait to see who they find to fill this position. They're looking for a senior developer advocate to engage with communities in South Korea and Japan. Also, this person will give technical workshops, be the eyes, ears, and face of the XRPL community by engaging with devs directly all over the world, speaking at conferences, have programming competency in Python, Java, and JavaScript, willing to travel, and it's a plus if you can speak Korean or Japanese. Wow, this is going to take one special person. A super report coming out of the SBI Digital Asset Holdings Group, and it's got some real nuggets throughout the 18 pages. More than a quarter of Asian financial institutions are investing in digital assets. And when it comes to tokenization, look at this. Real estate is the sweet spot at 40%. Yes, this new SBI Institutional Adoption of Digital Assets Report 2024 is so good. I'm going to put a link to it in the description of this video. I've got some pretty interesting updates from John Deaton's campaign. The last big interview that John had with the Channel 10 in Boston was fabulous. He really found his voice. And just on the views alone for my X feed, it had 158,000. I'm looking forward to the new interview that we'll see tomorrow morning with WCVB at 11 a.m. I will do my best to find that and share it so that we can get it out to the voters in Massachusetts. I've got some really great clips from a podcast with Robbie Mitchnick of BlackRock. Yes, this is the Robbie Mitchnick that used to work as an intern at Ripple. And I broke it down into the segments of talking about his internship, along with what percentage of allocations are people actually putting into their portfolios, along with when are the institutional investors coming, and the interest beyond Bitcoin and Ethereum. What is it exactly? And also, it's very interesting what he learned about himself during the journey of joining BlackRock to coming actually to the point of getting this ETF off the ground. And finally, what is in his wallet? And wow, you're not going to believe what he says about the XRP army. All right, everybody, until next time, do take care. Sayonara for now. Bye-bye.
When did you first spot the opportunity and go, okay, we got Bitcoin and we got BlackRock. How do I bring those two things together?
Well, I joined actually in the summer of 2018. So coming up on 6 years now. And I had been at business school. I totally fluked into this internship at a company I hadn't heard of and nobody had heard of at the time called Ripple. And that was 2017. And I interviewed for that internship in April of 17. XRP was at 2 cents, their crypto token. When I started 8 weeks later in June, it was at 28 cents. And 3 months after I left in January to go back to finish my MBA, it was at $3. And so that explosive journey, obviously incredible, fortuitous, fun timing. And I knew at that point I had to do something in this space. The opportunity was just too great and too exciting. And it was apparent to me that BlackRock had a lot of potential to be a transformative force in this space. And so August 2018, I started as full-time employee number one in the digital assets realm. And it's been a fun couple of years.
Who hired you?
It was really Rob Goldstein, in effect. That's who I first met with at BlackRock, and we had a good conversation. I think some of my ideas were probably a little premature, let's say, at that time. But
what were they?
Well, you might guess. But if you think about 2018, or at that time it was 2017, the idea that we would do a Bitcoin ETF would have been totally premature, right? You did not have the institutional infrastructure. You did not have the regulatory clarity. You frankly didn't have a lot of interest from our clients in this at that time. So as you track through time, our journey, there was a confluence of factors over the years that evolved to get us to where we are today.
So you talked about these whales and people buying IBIT. I mean, what percentage allocations of a portfolio you're seeing? Are you seeing people like you always hear everyone saying 1 to 5% or something. Are you seeing people doing way more than that? Are you actually seeing the 1 to 3% when you're talking to these clients? Like, how are clients looking at IBIT and just Bitcoin in general?
Yeah, I think that's probably the most intensive part of our conversations and the education journey right now, frankly. And it varies by investor type and risk preferences, and et cetera, right? So there's no kind of one size fits all, but we're doing a lot of education with our clients around that. And I would say 1 to 3% is probably the most typical range for those who are allocating.
Like, when are the institutions coming? I mean, forever you've been hearing people on crypto Twitter and elsewhere saying the institutions are coming, the herd is coming. But when are the institutions coming?
I think crypto Twitter also thinks advisors are institutions. Crypto Twitter thinks anybody without like a Coinbase account is like an institution, right?
I think some parts of crypto Twitter.
Yeah, they just think someone wearing like pleated khaki pants who golfs. Like, that's like the institution for them.
Well, I'm talking about endowments, pensions.
Someone said Bitcoin ETFs are for your parents. That was like, I forget what article did, but I thought that was a pretty accurate. This is the boomer. The boomers are coming.
We talked about those three buckets, right? And investor, direct, advisory, and institutional. Institutional is the longest time scale for sure. There's a very significant research, education, diligence process that is going into it. And I think that we're still very early on that journey. Obviously, there are a handful of institutions who over the years, a very small number who allocated to Bitcoin directly, who overcame the pretty significant frictions to do that. A little bit larger number who allocated to the sector, to the technology or asset class more broadly, typically through funds. Venture funds were a popular way to do it. But it's still early. What I can say is there's plenty who are on that research journey, and that's part of the education that we're doing every day. Obviously, there's a much longer tail of crypto assets than Bitcoin or Bitcoin and ETH. For us, for our clients, their interest overwhelmingly has been in Bitcoin, a little bit in Ethereum, and not a whole lot in that longer tail of 10,000 plus assets. So I think it's important to make that distinction between the two. Certainly there's some great projects out there in that larger group of assets, but there's also been a lot of pretty frivolous projects, right? A lot of tokens that have been flash in the pan and they've come and gone, and there's been, hype associated with them that hasn't been backed up by real economic substance. So it's going to be a long journey for some of the rest of crypto to really start establishing product market fit and economic use cases before they start to cross that chasm into what we've seen, obviously, Bitcoin become.
What did you learn about yourself through this?
I wasn't expecting that one.
Yeah.
I think that, patience was not something that I would say I necessarily have a lot of, but I have maybe a little bit more than I thought I did. And I think that for big things to happen in an industry, you have to be very patient, right? These things take time. Obviously, the digital asset space has had a pretty seismic shift over the last decade. But any given year, people might have said, oh, this is all not happening fast enough. And if we look back on where we've come as an industry and as a firm, what we've been able to do, I think it's actually pretty cool.
Capital One question. What's in your crypto wallet?
Oh, boy. There's obviously some Bitcoin there.
Is it IBIT or Bitcoin?
It's both.
Okay.
It's both. Yeah. There's some ETH there, and what's in beyond that, I'm not going to say. I'm not trying to create any market moving events here.
Probably for the best not to answer the rest
By the
of
way,
that question.
the XRP people are the craziest. Can we agree on that?
Yes.
No comment.
When they put that forged XRP thing out, and I called you guys, and they said, this is not true. I said, it's not true. The price went down to normal again. And for a week, they just dragged me. They were like, this suit doesn't know anything.
It was longer than a week.
Yeah.
They refused to accept
really
that it was
wild.
fake.
I mean, there are some pretty intense elements to a lot of these token fan bases. It's not just XRP.